It's July 16th, 2022. These sunglasses I received from a company called Hawaii, um, which manufactures some kind of bread at a GMA3 concert, which was Fallout Boys. I brought Benjamin and Alexander and myself. The three of us attended it for Alexander and my birthday, 1 year. Never saw a taping of a show. It was an outdoor concert. We went for the music. We didn't know what to expect. So that's where these come from. Last night at the comedy show, they offered something that looked like this, but in a different color. Again, I did not have enough money in my pocket in order to purchase them, so I did not approach the gentleman after the show. So for souvenirs and explain. Here we are. So I'm watching this, and my sons came with me, the ones that I genetically created in my person, and then whatever, we shared a house for body cavity for a little while, and then they were birthed into this world, same as I, except a little worse, and with me trying to catch up and figure out where my do I use the word sublime at this point, sublime other, since that's what West world used to build a construct to vernacularly or vocally explain to one another in some human construct across some controlled multinational looks, perhaps. The venue I can see. So, I'm looking at Warner Brothers' version of Fantastic Beasts: The Secrets of Dumbledore. I'm looking at this mother creature on the floor and this character of Newt. Now, Newt I find interesting, with Sir Isaac Newton being the only iconic mention in my journey through multiple rooms in this part of America in their historical teachings, for science principles. They use this name of Sir Isaac Newton. He was apparently sitting underneath an apple tree, doing whatever Sir Isaac Newton does during the day. And all of a sudden, or so the legend goes, or so the history goes, an apple, I live in the Big Apple, falls and hits him in the head, and he discovers gravity. Or some way of sitting under the apple tree, knowing an apple is above him, knowing that there is some relation to falling down and hitting his head. And then there's somebody in the wizarding world communities not only accredited Sir Isaac Newton with this and bestowed upon him the honor of having this Big Apple event, but then it also just makes one's curiosity, and we're not allowed to be curious about certain things, so they've already devised what this actually meant and taught it in a very logical sense of how to explain gravity, velocity, this falling down thing the apple did to hit him on the head. And how did he get involved? Well, he was under the family apple tree and the apple fell on his head. So I'm looking at the Warner Brothers version of this fantastical beast. I'm thinking further into my own life story where I have this cosmic brother in the gods from the great beyond. who arrived a year before I did. For whatever reason, he was dragged into the world. He had a very different journey than I did, though, so it looks he's got a much nicer lifestyle or position amongst humanity. I do not. So then I had a cosmic, on our same cosmic schedule, I had this cosmic godly gift bestowed to me that I carried and then birthed into the world. Um, and the delivering doctor was on the same, you call it a bewitched schedule? Do you call it the cosmic schedule? I don't know. I mean, I wasn't expecting him. I was happily surprised, not knowing who he was. But his name was Nicholas. I was Nicole. And the baby that I delivered was Alexander James. So, now I see that the Wizarding World came out with a way of explaining Newt, Sir Isaac Newton, this big apple, this fantastical beast, this cosmic schedule that we're all tethered into somehow. Um, and the person that I know and love from the sublime, when I wake up in this realm with Alexander, with Benjamin, Daniel, and Alexander and Anthony, my 2012 Anthony now, um, my sublime partner is not with me. Also, I should mention, when I entered Miss Kregler's class in Lloyd Harbor Elementary, first week, we were getting to know one another, the guys and I, and whatever. I mean, the girls were in another section of the class, quiet. Um, and I know who the participants were, in the row just behind me, and then that sat to the left of me. And then they actually made us stand at the front of the room because it did look like this person in the class that then disappeared. And we did look like twins, fraternal twins. I know, let's see. Whatever the one is. No, yeah, fraternal twins, not the identical twins, but fraternal twins. And so that happened. But again, then he disappeared. I don't know where. I don't know what set of rooms they took him to. But I was held in the Lloyd Harbor section of Long Island's set of rooms for years until there was some kind of whatever in the section of education or scholar I was ivory towered in. So here we are. Here's what the movie looks like in Fantastic Beasts, some 2002 conversation.
Twins.
They did say twins, didn't they? Real life, they said twins too. So now, whoever this gifted Newt is in Sir Isaac Newton knows more about gravity, velocity, and words I couldn't possibly construct that I was in my rooms were not taught, but has some responsibility as a big brother and in humanity, in if he wants to be one of the good ones. I mean, so there is this human relations department. I'm really not quite sure what happened on my journey, because and I don't know why Big Brother couldn't have reached in and intervened in the proper way. It's very confusing how this got so derailed.
Twins.
In another section of the movie, they do mention that he knows someone within this British ministry thing, which, again, here in the set of rooms that I was held in, we did not hear of such things. I've only heard of a British ministry when Harry Potter came out, but even that set of books and then that set of movies, it's one of those things where I try to follow along and then I zone out, because it's following some other false reality. I mean, it's got some constructs of what really could be great, but it's wrong as far as the way real world. I mean, it's totally divergent from where factions are in the field. So I don't know what that was all about. Now, someone in the Honor Society put out this new movie with the next gens, like my kids' age, which is interesting because my generation ran out of time for fixing things or was held from being able to fix things. And then this next generation built wrong from the beginning because I was withheld and put into harm's way. I don't have the correct star darting partner, nor the correct relationship, nor vows that were ever spoken in any whatever that were respectable or that were, I mean, they put me at an altar with a man who tried murdering me by several lengths, one by injecting me with star darts that could kill me. That violates the most sacred, trusted laws elsewhere. And I didn't choose this man. But this is part of being held in the rooms here. This is somebody else's design and somebody else's disgusting, sick humor.
Nicole was dispatched to check.
My name's Honor, and I'm going to the #1 college in the world.
You're in my top 4 choices.
Top 4? There's 3 people it could be, but only one is a threat. What's the plan? Michael, would you study with me?
Yeah, sure. Sure.
Easy. I've got to play dirty.
We should get to work, because I need a scholarship.
Break the tip off.
They grow up so fast.
Honor Society, rated TVMA, streaming July 29th on Paramount Plus.
Now, again, at first, sitting here by myself, knowing the real characters and knowing that that was not where I was at, I was honored to meet Michael. I was honored and did not think that I was pretty enough to date him. So in that aspect of local area, I laughed at how they portrayed it. But then I got angry because I realized, like, the girls, I'm a number 12. In the room last night at the comedy show, I was, by their Bernard character, I was pointed out as number 12 in the room. And he said that I earned that. Like, they knew. And I, thank you. And that was enough. It's just his acknowledgement for me, for this purpose. And I thanked him. So But the table of whatever, the other version of a white American female, I suppose, if that's where they were at, um, I could see that like, I don't know, knife turning, backstabbing, whatever it is that it could possibly be, in like sorority type of a way that they've portrayed in this movie Neighbors, which I referenced yesterday as well. I've seen humans do it. It's just not who I am, and it's not how I'm not in, like, I mean, again, I'm number 12. Number 12 knows who I am. And I have a son that's born same day as myself. There's a cosmic reason for things outside of whatever this human development has become. And there's simple ways to explain it, but I really didn't think I had to. But here we are, stuck in this room at this stage. Then I turn into, now, Michael and I, with our relationship, it was back in early 90s. Um, the telephone for me here, I can't remember if it was a cordless or if it still had a cord, but I had his parents' phone number, he had my parents' phone number, and we had to go through our parents in order to contact one another. True story. So there was no like individualized numbers and things. I think I might have had a beeper at that point. I can't remember. I just liked having the feature for whatever reason. Um, and then Lewis insisted I have a cell phone because he was deathly afraid of us moving back to Queens and me being alone in the world and having an emergency. Um, so whatever. But while dating, it was just, he wasn't allowed to use that number because it was extremely expensive and only for emergencies. So we had to go through our parents in order to have communication with one another, which in 20th century seems like such an archaic thing, but it actually has a really significant purpose. Um, Also, so today on the news, CBS New York Channel 2, it mentions this thing of robocalling. In on our phones here in Bayside, they call it scam likely or spam likely. So, but the TV is mentioning something called robocalling, where people are, and FTC knows about it. People are getting scammed for all sorts of reasons. Now, on the one hand, I'm thinking like, I don't want to be bothered. I don't really want to answer the phone. But then my other thing, I go back to, well, if opportunity calls for whatever reason, if I'm not answering the phone, then how do I know? But then if they do call with opportunity, how do I know that they're legitimate? Since they've totally ruined the phone system in giving one to everybody, and now like non-essential equipment has devices and are able to communicate with one another and then cause problems and scams and all sorts of things. So it's almost like the privilege and the prestige of the phone and having a number and having somebody actually seek out and call you for some purpose that's true in intent and harmless seems to be like all but forgotten. They've abused their privileges, humanity, and it's at a whole nother danger scale that in scientific worlds beyond this one that I'm aware of, but just at basic level.
Well, if you feel like you've been getting a lot of robocalls lately, you're not alone. Last month, Americans received more than 7 billion nuisance calls. As CBS News' Elise Preston explains, now there's a
7 billion. All I was looking for was one real person to reach out to me, establish physical contact in the real world and to go about whatever it is that I've been withheld from. Just one. But instead, they went with 7 billion robocalls that are nuisances to other people in this ineffective, inefficient cofactor that they're doing, and I really don't see a purpose in any of it.
Now there's a new effort to block at least some of them.
When the phone rings, it's often a robocall, and one in particular is frustrating consumers everywhere.
We have not received a reply to notices that you have received in the mail regarding your vehicle service contract.
The call blocking app RoboKiller says last year Americans received almost 13 billion calls about car warranties.
At this point in 2022, it is statistically possible that every American who owns a phone number, so even if you have multiple phones, has received a car warranty robocall at least 3 times.
The Federal Communications Commission is cracking down on these calls.
The warranty is up for renewal. I'd like to congratulate you on the $1,000 instant rebate.
The agency recently told several voice service providers to stop allowing illegal robocalls, and the Ohio Attorney General filed suit against a telemarketing group responsible for billions of these calls.
The suit itself alleges unfair and deceptive acts and practices, and it also alleges illegal robocalls and robocalling activity, things like calling people who are on the Do Not Call registry.
Melissa Smith with the Ohio Attorney General's office says consumers are often duped into buying a vehicle service contract.
And that differs from a car warranty. And many times these calls make it sound like this is going to have the same protection as a warranty, but that's not entirely.
Like, this just seems like busy work. This seems like busyness, inefficiency, problems. Like, I mean, and then you lose the public's faith. I mean, I pick up the phone and I'm just like, yeah. It's like, state your purpose. Like, I mean, what are you calling me for? And then there's nobody calling. Right, well, there was nobody important enough I see to call. I mean, I'm not looking for 7 billion phone callers. I don't want to scroll through 10,000 photos of men trying to find one when I know from the sublime there's one that exists, but it's being withheld from me. I mean, it's absolutely absurd the way that humanity expects one to try to function in this dystopian dysfunction. And it doesn't seem like it ever gets any better. I just see more busy work in the minutia.
Entirely true.
How do you know when a call...
And consumer confidence and like public awareness, consumer awareness, and consumer confidence doesn't exist in this world. Like, I have zero faith in whatever the heck they're doing.
Call is legit or bogus?
That can be really hard, especially for this type of robocall.
RoboKiller's Julia Porter says if you don't recognize a number, just don't answer the call. And if you do answer and it sounds suspicious, hang up. Elise Preston, CBS News, New York.
Much more news still ahead.
So jobs, when I apply for them, are not calling back. I've been withheld from a level of employment where the money mechanics work and I can survive and take care of the burdens that this world thrust onto me without any agreement from myself. And then to have no confidence in leadership or what's managing things because of their track history in abusing their privileges and me, with neglecting their responsibility and my safety and needs, and knowing that they know who I need and belong to, and in some relation are actually withholding me purposely for reasons I can't explain. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way universe, galaxy is broken, and it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.